For over 2 decades, a troubling secret has lingered in Hollywood. It involves a beloved, Emmy-winning actor and a series of serious allegations that were quietly swept under the rug. This is the story of how the Hollywood system may have concealed the alleged misconduct of Timothy Busfield. You probably recognize him as Elliot Weston from the groundbreaking drama 30-something, a role that earned him an Emmy. Or maybe you remember him as Danny Concannon, the sharp-witted journalist on The West Wing. He's been a reliable presence in film and television for years, but on January 9th, 2026, that familiar image came crashing down. An arrest warrant was issued for Timothy Busfield in New Mexico, charging him with 2 felony counts involving inappropriate conduct with minors and 1 count related to harm to a child. He turned himself in 4 days later, on January 13th. As details of the case began to emerge, they painted a picture far removed from his public persona. Investigators and reporters soon discovered that these charges were not an isolated incident, but the latest chapter in a troubling narrative of alleged misconduct that stretches back more than 25 years. To make sure you don't miss future investigations like this, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Click the button on your screen now so you never miss an update. The current charges stem from Busfield's role as a director and executive producer on the Fox series The Cleaning Lady. According to the criminal complaint, he is accused of grooming behavior and repeated boundary violations involving 2 11-year-old twin boys who were child actors on the show. The alleged conduct reportedly took place over a prolonged period, from November 2022 through the spring of 2024. The investigation began in November 2024 after a physician at the University of New Mexico Hospital raised concerns with law enforcement. The boy's mother had previously reported the situation to Child Protective Services in October 2025. The details described in court filings are deeply disturbing. One of the boys, identified only by his initials, told investigators that Busfield engaged in prohibited physical contact over his clothing on multiple occasions, beginning when he was just 7 years old. He reportedly said he was too afraid to come forward, fearing retaliation from Busfield, who held authority as a director on the production. The psychological impact has been severe. According to the police affidavit, the child was later diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety, suffering from recurring nightmares about the director approaching and touching him. Busfield, through his legal team and in a video statement, has strongly denied all allegations. He called the accusations horrible lies and vowed to fight them, saying he expects to be fully exonerated. His defense has suggested that the boy's mother fabricated the claims out of retaliation after her sons were not invited back for the show's final season. Prosecutors, however, have described a very different picture, one they characterize as a calculated pattern of grooming behavior, lack of professional boundaries, and exploitation of authority to gain access to minors. They argue this is not an isolated incident, but part of a long-standing history of alleged misconduct. As the New Mexico case unfolded, a pre-trial detention motion filed on January 14, 2026, revealed a strikingly similar allegation from the past. A man named Colin Swift contacted law enforcement to report that his daughter had allegedly been subjected to inappropriate conduct by Busfield years earlier, around 2001. At the time, she was a 16-year-old auditioning for Busfield at the B Street Theater in Sacramento, a company he co-founded. According to the motion, during the audition process, Busfield allegedly initiated unwanted physical contact and crossed clear personal and professional boundaries. What followed, prosecutors say, illustrates how power dynamics can silence accusations outside the legal system. The filing states that Busfield pleaded with the family not to report the incident to law enforcement, offering instead to seek therapy. The girl's father, himself a therapist, believed at the time that this was the most appropriate course of action. The B Street Theater has since confirmed that it retained legal counsel and conducted an internal investigation into the allegation in 2001, and that Busfield has not been involved with the organization since then. No criminal charges were filed in connection with this incident. However, its inclusion in the current court filings is significant. Prosecutors argue it demonstrates a potential blueprint: keep allegations internal, manage them quietly, and avoid formal legal scrutiny. They describe it as part of a sustained pattern spanning decades, one in which fear of retaliation and career harm may have discouraged victims and families from coming forward. The pattern appears to extend even further back. The current investigation has resurfaced details from a nearly 30-year-old case dating to the mid-1990s. In 1994, a 17-year-old girl who worked as an extra on the film Little Big League, which Busfield directed, filed a lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court. She alleged that Busfield had provided her with alcohol and engaged in non-consensual physical behavior. Rather than quietly resolving the matter, Busfield launched an aggressive legal counteroffensive. He filed a defamation lawsuit against the Minneapolis law firm Messerly and Kramer, which represented the girl, claiming the allegations had been fabricated. This move shifted attention away from the original claims and placed the accuser's legal team under pressure. But the strategy failed. A U.S. district judge dismissed Busfield's defamation lawsuit, rejecting his claims outright. In a rare outcome, the court ordered Busfield to pay $150,000 to cover the law firm's legal fees. Busfield later settled the original lawsuit with the 17-year-old woman for an undisclosed amount. In hindsight, this episode stands out as a major warning sign, one that went largely unnoticed at the time. Was the defamation lawsuit a genuine attempt to clear his name, or a legal intimidation tactic designed to discourage further scrutiny? The court's ruling suggests it did not find merit in Busfield's claims. Today, this long-buried case appears less like an anomaly and more like an early example of how legal power may have been used to control the narrative around serious allegations. As the allegations mounted, the professional consequences for Busfield were swift. On January 14, 2026, his longtime agency, Innovative Artists, confirmed that it had dropped him as a client. A recurring role he was set to appear in on Law & Order SVU was reportedly pulled from the broadcast schedule. A career built over decades began unraveling in a matter of days. Attention soon turned to his wife of more than a decade, actress Melissa Gilbert. In the immediate aftermath, her social media accounts went silent, and a scheduled virtual Q&A was canceled. Public speculation intensified as people waited for her response. When it came, it arrived through a carefully worded statement from her representative. The statement said Gilbert would be honoring the request of Busfield's legal team not to comment publicly while the legal process unfolds. It added that she stands with and supports her husband and would address the public at an appropriate time. Her primary focus, the statement said, was caring for their family. It also included a notable warning. Any supposed online statements, including AI-generated deepfakes claiming to show her breaking her silence, should not be considered authentic. The response underscores another layer of this story: the carefully managed public relations strategies that activate when serious allegations surface, aiming to contain damage while legal battles play out behind the scenes. The case of Timothy Busfield is about more than one individual. It is a case study in how systems of power, influence, and silence can operate within an industry like Hollywood. From private appeals for therapy instead of police involvement, to aggressive legal tactics that ultimately failed in court, a consistent pattern appears to emerge, one that raises profound questions about accountability. What do you think about the systems in place that are supposed to protect people in powerful industries? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The allegations against Timothy Busfield, which he strongly denies, will ultimately be decided in a court of law. But the questions raised by this case extend far beyond a single verdict. How many similar stories remain buried? How many people were silenced not only by individuals, but by institutions more concerned with protecting reputations than safeguarding others? The story of Timothy Busfield is not just about alleged misconduct. It is an indictment of a system that may have allowed serious warnings to go ignored for far too long. The final question isn't only about one man's guilt or innocence, but whether an industry built on illusion is finally prepared to confront an uncomfortable reality. If you believe investigations like this matter, help us continue bringing them to light. Click the button on your screen now to subscribe for more deep dives into stories that demand to be told.